guys. We'll start with the broadcast section. We've got Embargoed followed by an Embargoed section at 10:30 tonight. No live tweeting in the broadcast section, and please use the microphone. Michael.
Hi, Ange.
Hello, mate.
I know players are coming in a bit late. Is there any update on Son in particular, or any more injury news?
No, nothing really. Sort of the last update I got was late last night, and he was a bit sore after the game, obviously. The extent of it, we kind of need to see how he recovers today. There was a couple of others with some knocks, but I don't think anything else significant.
It's obviously a tough night last night, but it's been a brilliant start. Is there a sort of a message? There's going to be difficult periods. You've only had one transfer window. This is just the beginning for you here. Yeah,
but I think I've been consistent in saying that when things were going well. But I don't think it was a brilliant start. A brilliant start would have been last night, like I said in other games, is to take advantage of the dominance we have in games, and we're not, and it's keeping the oppositions in the game, and especially in the second half, we had a couple of defensive lapses, which a team like West Ham will always punish you. So, the football, for it to be brilliant, it's got to be there in its entirety. And I don't know how many times I've said here, I still think our front third, we've got a lot of work to do, and unfortunately, that's costing us at the moment in terms of results. But that's the challenge for us. We've got to keep pushing on and trying to become better in those areas.
Can I just get confirmation that the club have rejected an approach from Swansea for Chris Davis? Obviously, it's a potentially exciting role, but it looks like he might be staying here then.
No, look, I've just had a brief discussion with Chris, and he knows we've got a busy week, so we're all focused on that. And look, he's an outstanding individual. He's done some great work with us. He's done great work in the past, and it's not surprising to me that whether it's Swansea or other clubs would look at him, and it's what you want, to be honest. You want good people, and when you've got good people, they're going to attract attention. And from my perspective, whatever that sort of transpires to, it's very much in Chris's hands in terms of his decision, what he wants to do moving forward, and then obviously the club will deal with it from there.
Jake, please.
Hi, Ange. Obviously, the last 5 games might not have gone as you would have wanted, but overall, after 15 games, where do you think things are at? Where do you feel? We're at,
I guess where I've said all along, we're at the beginnings of trying to build something, and a lot of it is, I think there's been progress made for sure in many areas. Other areas we still need to do a lot of work in. We've obviously had some challenges within that time frame of injuries, which have disrupted our sort of ability to have a consistent lineup out there, and players out there who had started the season well and were very influential. So with all that context, but that happens to every football club, and we just got to work our way through this difficult period. But as I said, we're still at the beginnings of what we're trying to build.
Christian Romero returned last night. Almost looked like he hadn't been away. How did you view his performance, and also as part of that leadership group as well?
Yeah, I thought Christian was good last night. He obviously tired towards the end a bit, but he gave everything. It was good to get him back in the lineup. He gives us a certain security back there, and also he is one of these like I said, as a leader, strong figure out there, which we're going to need through this period, because we're obviously still got some tough times ahead, and with guys like him will help steer us through that.
And just lastly, Newcastle, obviously on Sunday, they've struggled a lot away from home this season, certainly more than they did last season. Is there anything that you've seen in their performance as to why they might be performing differently away from home?
No, but it's fair to say Newcastle are probably the only other club that have gone through anything like we have from an injury perspective, and that's going to affect every club. And I think they've actually battled through it reasonably well, very well actually, considering the amount of disruptions they've had to their first team squad and the challenges they've had. And I think any club in the Premier League that goes through that sort of period will find it hard to get a consistency in results. But it'll be a tough game on Sunday for us because again they've got a team that do have goal threats, and they work hard as a unit, and we've got to be able to match that.
You mentioned about the front players, and that's still an area that's got to work on. Obviously, you've mentioned previously about Kulusevski and Johnson wanting to get more goals out of them. I mean, how is that something you coach into players? Is it about movement, positioning, or all, I guess all of the above?
Yeah, it's all of it. Yeah, I mean, look, Brennan's right. Brennan's 22. I mean, he's still sort of learning the game in many respects, and it's a big move for him. Kulusevski, similar. He needs to sort of develop that side of the game, but it's like anything else. You just got to keep working at it, and it's not just them. It's us as a team. The opportunities just didn't fall for them last night. It was other players in those areas, and like I said, we lack some real conviction as we have in previous games. I think from the start of the season, though, I don't think we've rewarded our dominance with goals. Even in the games we've won, we haven't really converted the opportunities or created the chances that our play should have. So as I said, that's still the area where we've got a hell of a lot of work to do.
Obviously, with that conviction and creativity as well, would that be an area maybe in January to look to bring in someone with that kind of those attributes?
Well, it's not easy because, again, you when you're talking about the finished product, you know what that's going to cost in the market, and there aren't that many there. So, it's about developing our players here and giving them more sort of information and more room for them to continue to grow and understand the different options they have in those kind of areas. And some of it's just, like I said, experience of them being in those positions and us giving them the information to execute better the next time.
And just on Chris Davies, briefly, obviously he's done fantastic work for you so far this season, but with your experience of going into clubs, bringing in new coaches each time, does it make it easier to absorb a departure or not? Yeah,
I've always been relaxed. I mean, I've said in the past, I think it's part of my role to develop staff. I mean, I'm really proud of the fact that a lot of the guys I've worked with, the reason they're not with me as assistants are because they're senior managers in their own right. So I never see, look, if you're looking for things that are going to be disruptive, and you can use that as a clutch and excuse for anything. We lost Harry Kane the day before the season started. There's a disruption. We've lost half a squad after one game. There's a disruption. If you let these things, there's always going to be. You can't work in a vacuum where everything is perfect. And for me, I've been relaxed in these kind of situations because I always believe that the environment will cover whatever sort of challenges we have if we get it right.
So very quickly, Lo Celso, when he came off last night, was that just tiredness, or did he have a knock or anything, or just tactical?
No, just sort of tactical. I just thought we needed some more legs in the midfield and try to change things up a little bit.
Tim, please.
Ange, in terms of returning players, is this pretty much it until the new year now, or are there some coming back?
No, I think that's it. I mean, we obviously we got Pape a few minutes last night, and my understanding, him and Richie both sort of reported they were okay, but there won't be anyone else coming back between sort of now and the new year.
You mentioned a few weeks ago how good training was and how fringe players were really pushing the first 11. With the amount of players you got out, does that naturally suffer in training, or are the levels still as you want?
No, we're still sort of maintaining those levels. I still think our training's been good. It's had to get supplemented by younger guys coming in, so that sort of changes the dynamic a little bit. But in terms of what we've seen, the quality and tempo of our training still being, at the levels we need it to be.
And George, to finish this section, please.
Hi, Ange. You're obviously short of creative options, and last few home games in particular, you've sort of turned to the bench and brought on Veliz. I wonder, has there been a temptation looking at Jamie Donnelly, even though he's only 17, 18, to sort of throw him on and see what he can do? Because I guess the one thing he's shown for the under-21s is that creativity this season.
Look, he's in the squad, and all these kind of decisions are made within the context of all the information I have. Players have an opportunity every day, to show what they can do and give me food for thought in terms of selecting. So if I'm not doing it, there's a reason why I'm not doing it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't change for next week or the week after. It's not just about the games they play, it's about what they do on a daily basis. But certainly Jamie's, I think he's developing. I think it's benefited him sort of training with us regularly now. He's pretty much, a permanent fixture in here, and within that context, I think over the next few games, if he keeps developing the way he is, he'll get an opportunity in a game as well.
And obviously results are important, but it feels like everyone knows you're at the beginning of this journey, where you hope to be a long-term project. Does the 4 defeats in 5 bring extra pressure, or do you have to kind of focus on the long-term job?
I guess neither on both. The pressure is the pressure. It's always there. It's how you kind of treat it, and I've never let it sort of guide my path or my way forward. I mean, I just think I've got a clear idea about what I'm trying to do, and we'll keep methodically working against that and being really disciplined about that. But that doesn't mean long term. For me, like I said, I don't have a 3 or 5 year plan up my sleeve that's guaranteed for success. What I do have is a plan that I think will get us to where we need to be. How long that takes, I don't know. It depends on sort of how we keep sort of, like I said, discipline in sticking the path, because ultimately, whether it's this challenge, there'll be another challenge in 6 months' time. There'll be another one. Even if you have success, there's a challenge there. So it's how really focused you are and how committed you are to go on the path that you've started. And I'm unwavering with that. I just will not budge in terms of, because I just think, that's what I believe is the best way forward.
And you face Eddie Howe this weekend, who was obviously in the running for the Celtic job, but before you got it, I mean, I know it's 4 defeats in 5 now, but you are a Premier League manager. Do you ever kind of have the chance to sit back and think what could have happened if he had taken the Celtic job? And you
absolutely. Sliding doors moment, but there's probably been no bigger decision than me being here today than Eddie knocking back the Celtic job. So I haven't thanked him. I probably should.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there. We'll move on to the Embargoed for 10:30 p.m. tonight. Tom?
Ange, talk to us, if you could speak a bit more about what that means. I mean, is that sort of a technical thing in your mind, or is it more of a psychological thing?
A bit of both. That you want that responsibility. So when the ball falls to you, that you kind of you embrace that in that moment. So that's a sort of a mental thing. And secondly, it's the conviction in your technique to execute. And not rush or not sort of be in a position where you think you have to do something that is way out from the norm of what you normally do. So look, goal scoring it's the hardest thing in football. We know that, but at the same time, I think there's a methodology and a kind of mindset that when you get into those areas that if you follow and you're really disciplined in your approach and have conviction in what you're doing, you can give yourself a better chance. And when you look at last night, we've got some great areas, some great opportunities, and we didn't really test the goalkeeper or test the opposition.
Is there a danger, do you think, that we'll kind of focus on the style and the identity and everything with the players, that kind of get a bit carried away with that and kind of forget just to actually, you have to score, you have to win the game as well?
Not in that way, but I do think there is always, and again, wherever I've been, it's been a similar experience where sometimes it creeps into the mindset of the players that the football alone will give you that. So we play a certain way, and if we play a certain way, we're definitely going to score and we're definitely going to win, and that's not the case. There's still an execution bit. There's still, what they bring as people to finish all that stuff off. So, if you look at our football, you'd say, okay, we were very dominant, particularly in the first half, but that's proven that that's not enough. If you really want to sort of finish that off, then you've got to be able to execute. So the football won't do that. That has to be the individual and the team as a collective.
This has been a sort of an issue with this club for a long time, lack of killer instinct, I guess. Previous managers have talked about it. How do you go about solving that?
By not shying away from it, you just got to work at it. I think you can work at it by being disciplined. By being continually exposed to those kind of conditions at training during games and not shying away from it. Because if you're going to play at a big club, and a big club where they have success, then that's the responsibility you have. You can't just sort of shy away from that. That's the reality of it. So, from my perspective, that's why I'm unwavering in what we're doing. I'm not going to let us off the hook by saying, yeah, we played some good football last night and that's enough. No, it's not. We've if we want to get to where we want to, and like I said, we've still got a long way to go. We've got to accomplish that part of it as well.
You spoke well last night about how plenty of people were saying about being good football things about winning. How do you actually put that across to the players? Entertaining is nice, but being killers is better.
Well, that's the game we're in. It's I've said all along, I don't play this kind of football to entertain. I play this kind of football because it wins. Now it happens to also entertain, which I like. I don't think they need to be mutually exclusive, but ultimately it's because it's successful. Because again, I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't. If it was just something I was kind of conjuring up that people were praising but wasn't getting success, I wouldn't be in the job I am. My whole career has been about winning things. So that's why I want us to play the way we are. Like I said, that's where you can sometimes fall into the trap, and it's happened at every club I've been at, where the players sometimes think that playing that football is enough. It's not.
Son used the word soft last night in his interview after the match. Do you quite like seeing your captain being strict? Do you like to police the players and tell them what to do?
Yeah, look, again, with the players, I allow them to get to the space they want to. I give them a clear idea about what I think, and then it's how they embrace that and how they then execute that, what they think themselves. But when I spoke to them last night, it wasn't about again our football. It was about understanding that our football will get us to a certain point, and if we want to get beyond that point, that's where we've got to really, like I said, be disciplined and have conviction about who we are and what we want to do. And it's only natural at the beginning of a cycle that there's going to be some gaps there, and that's where our gaps are.
Long before you came here, rivals have sort of thrown that Spurs tag
Yeah.
around the club. I presume you knew about that before coming here. And what's it like working here with rivals slapping out on you? Is that sort of?
That's schoolyard stuff. What I need to know is that this club hasn't won anything for 15 years. That's all I need to know. Now, why that is, and why other people may think that is, that's, whatever tag you put that's the reality, yeah? And there's no going away from that. There's no point in me trying to disguise that, or anyone else at this football club trying to disguise that. If you want to be successful, then you, like most organisations, you've got to learn from the mistakes of the past, you've got to come up with a plan, and you've got to stick to it, as I said last week. And whatever sort of tags other people want to put on it, that can't be your motivation. That can't be what drives you. What's got to drive you is, like I said, that, if you want to bring success, you've got to have a clear idea of how you're going to go about it, and then stick to the process.
Have you heard the old saying about if you give a footballer an excuse, he'll take it? And do you think that that's fair? And also, I'm just listening to your very firm, no excuses kind of messaging. You mentioned Harry Kane because they've sort of the injuries. How important is it that you're obviously really hitting that hard?
Yeah, I think you're being a bit harsh on footballers. I think all of us in life would do that. But in elite sport, it's even more important that you don't allow that to happen, because there isn't any time in your existence as an elite sportsman or as an elite team where there won't be the ability to make an excuse. They're always there, always. It's whether you choose to, let them infiltrate in what you're trying to do, or you use them as a motivation to become stronger in other areas. Because, even if we had won last night and come out today 3 points better off than where we were, we'd still be at the start of a cycle, and we'd still have plenty of excuses for Sunday, and we'd still have plenty of other things that will come up across our path that if we wanted to use them as a clutch, you can use them. But that's how you don't get to be successful.
I'm really apologetic about my lateness, but I don't know if you were asked this at the top of the press conference, but if Chris came to you and said, it's my first shot at a number one job, I want this, does that mean that you wouldn't stand in his way?
Well, it's not my decision, it's a club decision, but like I said before, when I know you weren't in it, I believe it's part of what I do. I develop staff, I develop players, and I think the sign that you've got good people in your building is that they're wanted by others. So I'd be much more concerned if no one was showing an interest in our people. But in terms of the way forward, well, that's going to be a club decision, and Chris will be involved in that. I'll have my views, but I won't be the final sort of say in that.
And just back to what Kieran was saying about this Spurs attack, which you understand we describe as schoolyard stuff, but when you have a run like this, 5 games in a row, taking the lead, not winning games, it's often the first thing that they use to beat you. I'm just wondering, since you've been here, do you get any sense that kind of perception weighs the players down to it?
Well, put it this way, it shouldn't weigh the new players down because they have no history in it. Now, whether it weighs the ones who've been here, that's something that, it's hard for me to gauge, but it's not something that I reflect on or kind of talk about from a historical perspective. All you can do is chart your way forward. If you want to change perceptions, there's only one way to do it. It's not going to. People are not going to just change their minds and change what they think about you because you want them to. You've got to give them a reason to. And that's the position we're in. And that's, like I keep saying, that's why I'm here, because the club wanted to change its course. So that's what I'm doing. And, I think I said in day one, change means change. Change in everything. Change. And if it means change in mindset because maybe people are carrying, scars of the past, well, let's get rid of them. You can't just wish upon things. Things have to happen. You have to change the course of what you're doing, and that's what I'm embarked on. And I'm at pains to say, and it sounds repetitive, but we're just at the beginning. For what in my mind, what we need to look like, we've got a long way to go. Notwithstanding that, in the meantime, in the short term, we still got to, provide reward for our supporters and make sure that as a football club we're in the position we need to be.
Just on Brennan, you pointed out he's a young player at the start of his journey. He was also signed for quite a lot of money for Tottenham. I know the fees these days are mad, but it was an expensive fee. I was wondering, do you get any sense that fees weighing in there?
Again, he's joined a big football club. You can't play for a big football club and hide away. It doesn't happen. If you want to play you look at any player who goes to a big football club, that's where they want to be. They want the responsibility. They want the limelight. They want to be the person that, makes that difference. And that's why Brennan came here. He could very easily have stayed at Nottingham Forest, where, again, he was making a great career for himself, but he wanted to get out of his comfort zone because he'd been there for so long, and he chose to come to a big club. Well, that's part of being at a big club, and I know he knows that, but that's not just an overnight thing. He will come to embrace that, I'm sure. We've seen, elements of his game that are very, very exciting, and we just got to get him to do that more now and believe in himself more. And I know that'll come. I've got full faith it'll come. I've seen it in him. But like any other process, with young players and young people, they've got to get to that space. You try and help them to get there as quickly as possible, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer.
Just that message about responsibility of being at a big club and what comes with that seems quite relevant to Richarlison as well. I know he's just come back from injury. He's obviously had a difficult time, from at least from goal scoring point of view since he's been here. But it feels like, particularly with the injuries, and particularly with Son who might miss the game, this is his chance. This is his time. Do you feel like, presumably, you want him to step up now? And that's the
It's not about wanting him to step up, but like I said, that's the opportunity, and again, with all footballers, that's all you can really ask for. There's nothing more that, you know, a club or a manager can provide for you, but, you know, the basic framework of saying, well, here's an opportunity for you, and, you know, your opportunity now exists to, you know, make your own mark and make an impact. So, you know, I mean, it's great to have him back, you know, and fair to say he looks a lot freer and better physically than he did earlier in the year when he was kind of struggling through things. So, you know, it seems like the intervention in terms of the medical intervention has been positive for him. You know, he's short of some match fitness, but it was good to get him, you know, on last night for a bit more time. And, you know, we're going to need him. We're going to need all the guys, because like I said, the group we've got at the moment is what we're going to have between now and sort of foreseeable future. So, you know, they're the ones that are going to have to sort of turn the fortunes around.
Darren, anything to finish us off?
Just one from me. You kind of spoke this earlier in the season about how your own career trajectory, you've always had to defy the odds and prove who you were, and you're proud of that. Can you apply that now in real time? I can imagine this home Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I have, you know, Darren, I have the benefit of experience. I've been through this many times. So I know unequivocally what we need to do. But for a lot of these guys, it's the first time. And I'm always mindful of that wherever I've been. And that's why I know that invariably, you know, sometimes it's happened at the beginning of my tenure, sometimes it's happened in the middle, sometimes it's happened at the end of the first season, but always in that first season there's challenges, and players need to go through that and come out the other side and see that, okay, we've survived that. It hasn't killed us. We're still going. We're still alive. We're still upright, and if anything, it can make us stronger going forward. But like I said, I have the benefit of that experience. The players don't. My role in this is to guide them through that. I know how we get through this, and I know what the road forward looks like. But they've got to go through it themselves and find out about themselves. Do they want to be part of this? Because it's not going to get any easier. That's the one thing I keep telling them. There's never going to be a time where it's going to be smooth, not while I'm at the club. Even when things are going well, I'm going to be pushing for us to be better. I'm going to be pushing for us to improve. I'm going to be pushing for us to bring success to this football club. So there's never going to be a time where they can, you know, feel any sort of comfort that, you know, things are going to run smoothly. So, yeah, the more they embrace this side of it, and it's a great time for me to, you know, this is where I'm, apart from the beginnings, this is where I'm most alert, not just with the players, with the staff, with everyone at the football club. How's everyone reacting to this? It gives me a good indicator about what we need to do going forward.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thanks guys.
Thank you.